Good evening, everybody. The Fundamentalist-Modernist movement was and is a conflict that is still going on today. It first started in the early 20th century. Modernism wanted to update Christianity and make it more appealing, and it got its chance with one man by the name of A.B. McGriffith, who got the ball rolling in the States. He studied in Germany, and after returning to America, he brought his new ideas and introduced them into the university system, where it found footing that turned into a movement. When the fundamentalists held to traditional beliefs of Scripture and inerrancy, the modernists wanted to reinterpret and modernize Christianity so that it would survive. They started with Scripture and declared that it had flaws. Several denominations struggled with the modernist movement, but one of the most prominent in the struggle was the Presbyterian Church. Yet, in an article for the New York Times written on October 25th, 1925, the leader of this article would have thought it was no big deal. In fact, the first sentence pretty much sums up the event with this: without the slightest sign of possibility of a fundamentalist modernist controversy, which marked the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church. It then goes on to talk about elections and other matters, including the moral decline after the First World War. Now let's go back to March 19th, 1924, to an article in the Washington Star in the District of Columbia. The headline to the article states, "Presbyterians ask vows from officers." The reader gets to see these questions, and the leadership was to answer them to determine whether they are still holding to the denomination's fundamentalist roots or had they been swayed by the modernist thoughts. It shows that there was a lot of discussion going on during this time over this matter, and the fundamentalists still had a strong hold in the denomination at the time. I would like to mention one more denomination, the Northern Baptist Convention. Now, there is one thing that's to be said about my fellow Baptists. We can be stubborn lot. Now, with that being said, the Baptist denomination did have its issues with modernism. Again, in New York Times, March 12, 1927, an article speaks on the controversy within the Northern Baptist Convention. It started with a charge against John D. Rockefeller, the head of the Standard Oil. He charged by trying to make the denomination an arm of the Standard Oil Company, and it was leveled by the Reverend T.T. Shields, declaring that Mr. Rockefeller wanted to establish a pope and bishops for the denomination. But Dr. W. H. Bowler, executive secretary of the Board of Missionary of the Northern Baptists, took a position of silence, and that pretty much put the issue to rest with no further discussion. Now, the fundamentalist modernist controversy has found an uneasy stalemate. The fundamentalists hold firm to the traditions, and the modernists continue to push the envelope. Is there any end to this? Only when Jesus returns.